two, three, go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special episode on WeDeyCode on our Codecast. Today we have Eniola Sobimpe on board. He's a Nigerian computer scientist living in Dallas, Texas, United States of America, and he's worked for different large tech companies. He's worked with IBM, he's worked with Amazon, and now he's on the way to the famous Goldman Sachs. So I'd like to welcome to the stage today Eniola Sobimpe to just give his quick intro about himself, how he got into computer science, what the path was, what role models he was looking up to, and just general, Eniola, how did you get into this space?
Okay, hi everyone. A quick correction there. So I'm actually a physicist, not really a computer scientist.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So my name is Eniola Sobimpe, and I go by Eni. And then actually, the way I got into tech is kind of very different from conventional way. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I got into tech. So
Right.
this is called Dio Nano Pod. So during my freshman year, a professor called me to join his research group, and then one of the things we do in the research group is build detectors to detect particles and all this stuff. So from there, we use some crazy sensitive board, program them in order to collect data into the cloud. So yeah, my first project is to program this thing and then to turn on LED lights at a different interval.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you want to program this thing, you have to use C++. So that was my first project ever, and then it's kind of tedious because it's a research, and in research you have to do everything on your own, most especially. So it takes me to be honest, it takes me like 2 weeks to figure it out, and then when I figure it out, I just figured out okay, it's just 10 lines of code. Yeah.
That's always what it's like.
I mean, that's always what it starts like. So yeah, I mean, so I was able to qualify to get an internship with AIM to go to Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory in Chicago. It's one of the largest laboratory here in the United States.
Wow.
So yeah, so I was there working on the Nova test beam experiment. So this Nova test beam experiment is we are collecting data of neutrino. So initially what neutrino is that neutrino is massless. So as you are sitting down there, as I'm sitting down here, like there are billions of neutrino passing through us,
Okay.
and we cannot feel them. So since we cannot feel them, they think it's massless. But when they started the experiment, I think in 2003, they detected that there's this different flavor of neutrino, which means they have mass. So yeah, we are collecting data to detect the mass of neutrino. And that has been ongoing since 2003, and it's still ongoing till like 2025. So yeah, so we collect data, and my job back then was to analyze this data and to tell us when the particles are changing from one process to another. So imagine I was using Python and C++ a lot then, with a guidance from my friends and everyone. To be honest, it wasn't easy, but it takes me like a month to be very confident in analyzing data with Python and all this stuff. And that's essentially how I got into tech, to be honest. And I was like, okay, I'm a physics major actually, but what about diving into data and machine learning along the way so that I can actually have something new doing instead of doing a lot of giant mathematics out there. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and essentially along the way I was very interested in it. And then I can tell people you don't need a CS degree or whatever to start. To start, it's very hard, but you need a lot of guidance from people who knows about it to start. And then once you get it, you can keep going from there.
Absolutely, and I just like that. I just want to give a segue. Just like I said on the channel, you don't actually need a CS degree. Right here, you have an example. You can see this is not fake. Live and direct. I'll show you his LinkedIn. So he studied physics. So you can see it's all about spending the time to actually, just like you said, focus on the work, and then to also find someone who can guide you. So speaking of this, then there were different internships you did. So let's start thinking. Apart from what you did with the neutrino project, maybe could you just tell us about, just briefly, how, even before we go to the internships, let's just see, how did you actually start searching for jobs? Because now you said, you've used Python and C++, and you have a background in physics, and, how did you then make this switch? How did you work on the transition?
Oh yeah, searching for a job is the most tedious aspect of everything, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, just because you're in the United States of America and you're studying or something, maybe top
Yeah.
school or whatever,
Hmm.
doesn't guarantee
Hmm.
job. So I think one of the strategy I use is this. First is working on my resume.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have a very dumb resume earlier. And then so I throw the resume into, like, when you're applying for a job, you're throwing your resume into a black hole. I
Yeah.
call it black hole,
Yeah.
just something maybe dodgy on. And then when you throw your resume in there, you don't get any feedback. And
Hmm.
then most of the time you get a rejection. And then, yeah, so I try to work on my resume. I talk to my friends who are already in tech, because I have a friend that during his sophomore year, he got into Google. So, and I have a lot of different people.
Wow.
So yeah, so we talk a lot, and I was able to compare their resume to mine, and I said, okay, it's very dumb. And then one thing is I don't have experience back then,
Mm.
no experience. So this
Okay.
is what I did that is kind of very different. I did like 4 different projects.
Yes, correct. Correct. Okay, you guys can hear side projects, side hustles. In tech, if you have no experience, you can actually build it yourself. That's an unfair advantage we have. Others can't do that. Go straight for the side hustle.
So, where were these side hustles again?
Okay, so the first one is I built a car race game with rackets.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's more like copying code and doing it back
Yeah,
then,
yeah, it's
because,
all good.
but at least I was learning a lot. I think the
Hmm.
second one is I built a machine learning model, like computer vision. You
Hmm.
can Computer vision can differentiate between maybe 7 objects, different objects, and
Okay.
then I put it on my resume. Then the third one was I think I haven't dived into quantum computing by then, but I was doing some computational physics projects, like simulation. So
Okay.
I did simulation of something too. And then the fourth project I can't remember anymore. And then those are the all experience I have that I put
Hmm.
on my resume back then.
Hmm.
So I just put a technical personal project, you know. So number one. And then the other thing is this, you have to give them your GitHub like link to the code.
Hmm.
They're not going to check it. Actually, nobody's going to have the time, because they barely have 6 seconds to check your resume. But giving them link to the code shows that, okay, you actually did this stuff. You are not bluffing, you know. So yeah, so I give them a link to that, and then I mean that's why I got a call from. I got my first interview with Google back then with
Wow.
that resume.
Nice.
I got with a lot of top companies there, but I didn't pass any of those interviews. So because I didn't have the technical skills, I think we're still gonna get back there. That okay, how to pass the technical interview. But yeah, so the first thing is working on your resume.
Yeah.
Do a lot of personal projects,
Yeah.
and then once you do a personal project, put all those on your resume. And then I'm gonna be showing us my resume, copy of my resume later today. But this one is kind of very advanced now because I have experience.
Yeah.
But back then I don't have any experience, and I couldn't find that one. But I just know that I put a lot of my personal project on it, and I was able to get interviews back then. And
Yeah.
that's how I did.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting. So, even speaking about the interview process, right? Like many people, many people are very frustrated with the technical interview process. It's almost like studying for WAEC, or
Mhm.
like WAEC. Just for people listening, WAEC is a popular exam in West Africa. So it's like it's a huge thing. People spend like 8 months practicing to get into Google.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah, yeah. So with this interview process, how did you find the difference between, how did you strategize? Like, were you just applying to everywhere, or did you customize your resume for small versus large companies, or maybe companies within a certain expertise, maybe computational physics, some others computer vision? Like, how did you then go about? What was the strategy?
Okay, for us international students, you have to find a company that can fight for you. So that narrows my choice down to top companies alone.
Yeah,
So I was only focusing on top companies actually. But when I was applying, I said that okay, just submitting application alone is not enough in the long process. Although I'm getting the interview, and then sometimes I'm getting interview, sometimes I'm getting rejection. For instance, for Amazon, I didn't get any interview with Amazon when I was throwing my resume in there. Okay, so yeah, so the way I strategize is the first intention is, okay, can I get a company that can fight for me and at the same time gaining experience? And then that's the only strategy. But if I get a question, are you asking like, okay, how did I strategize getting the interviews itself, right?
Yeah, like even getting to the interview stage. So now you've cleared. So you've cleared your resume. You've gone through that hustle. You've cleaned up your resume. So now, is there anything else, like you mentioned
Yeah,
get like LinkedIn and all those things? Like
of
social.
course. I mean, there's a lot of things. I think submitting your resume directly is a dumb process. I won't
Mm,
advise it,
mm,
to be honest,
mm,
because I learned from experience. I think the one thing you can do is, one, there are two things to this place: getting a referral from
mhm.
someone working at a company or a
Okay.
recruiter. So there's an easier way you can do this. That's why we have LinkedIn. You can go on LinkedIn, you can search for a recruiter, okay, and then talk to the recruiter one-on-one and ask for a referral. And then, of course, recruiter will give you a referral, because if you get hired and such person is from the recruiter, of course, they
Mhm.
have some bonus they get from
Yeah.
hiring the best. So yeah, they are willing to give you a referral.
Mm,
Also, that's kind of dumb process to me. I think the best way, because a recruiter will get your name and a lot of different names and then tender it to the hiring manager. So the
mhm,
hiring manager make the call here. He doesn't, not the recruiter. So the hiring manager says, okay, this is who I want, not the recruiter. So the recruiter is just like sourcing for talent, while the hiring manager make the decision. So what I do is this: I go to the hiring manager directly instead of going through. So I can share my screen here and I can show you how you can search on LinkedIn
Yeah.
to
Sure.
see hiring managers, and then yeah, we can. I think you need to enable me to share.
Let me just. Okay. Okay. Do you have
Okay,
access now?
now I can share.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you see my LinkedIn right now? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, this is what I did back then.
Mhm.
So the way I got into Amazon is this. Let me just use Amazon as an example. So I click here, search button. I see Amazon.
Mhm.
And then when I click search, LinkedIn make it easier for you that whenever you search for people like this, you can see all people results. And then
Yeah.
there we go. You can see hiring, okay?
Yeah.
Hiring, hiring,
Yeah.
hiring. So all these people are hiring manager at Amazon. And
Yeah.
you can see that I'm hiring right now.
Mhm.
And this is what I did. I just click connect. So LinkedIn make it easy for us to add notes.
Mhm.
Don't send connection to hiring manager without adding a note. They will
Mhm.
never get back to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just added a note. Hey, I'm Annie. I have experience in this. Of course, before I connected with them, I have to look at the profile of the
Mhm.
person, know what they are working on. If you look at this place, look at this person here. Okay, this person doesn't have any maybe introduction. So let's look at someone else, maybe like this. Yeah. Okay, this ad introduction to it. It says, my team is building a new generation of machine learning infrastructure at Amazon,
Mhm.
and we are hiring. That's what it says. And it says, okay, want to build innovative greenfield products from scratch. All these things is what you want to look at. And then once you look at them, once you see that, okay, you build it maybe a summary of maybe 200 lines of sentence or whatever, and
Yeah.
then you just go to click on connect, add a note. Hey, I saw that your team is working on machine learning
Mhm.
infrastructure. This is what I've done with machine learning and this
Yeah.
and that. Just send a note. Of course, only 1 out of 10 will get back to you. But I can tell you that that 1 out of 10 will be a game changer for you forever.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then that is how I got someone, is a software development manager at Amazon. And
Mhm.
he get back to me and he said, okay, can I have a copy of your resume? And then
Nice.
the funniest thing is this, he doesn't have a space on his team at that time,
Mm.
but he connected me with another hiring manager. But that hiring manager is a product manager or like program manager, technical product or program manager. And then we talk, and I can tell you that because I was talking to the hiring manager directly, and then she likes me,
Mhm.
okay, I didn't do any assessment. I
Wow.
was called for final interview directly.
Wow. Wow.
So, guys, can you see this strategy? So, please remember to like and share this video, subscribe, press the bell icon, comment down below, about what you think about Eniola's strategy, because this is see, these are the secrets, the secret keys.
Mhm. I mean, because I know back then, if I actually did the assessment, I might not get to the final interview, to be honest, because I don't know. I'm not very sure if I have the skills enough to pass that interview then. But yeah, I mean, she got to me and said, "Hey, I got a connection from this also person, and then do you like joining my team? This is what my team does, and then if you like it, I can ask a recruiter to schedule a final interview with you, which is just 2 hours." And then the funniest thing is when I got to the final interview, the technical aspect of the final interview is just like maybe 25 minutes. The remaining was leadership principle and talking about my experience. Because the thing is she is the hiring manager. So I'm going to work for her directly. So she knows what she wants and she just like me already. And I don't need to go through all the stress of this interview process. And I can tell you that all the people you see on LinkedIn posting jobs, that's mostly how they got their job. Because, going through interview process itself, I have a friend that I said earlier that he got a job at Google and he couldn't pass Facebook interview.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the strategy I have that I use most of the time. Now I don't really apply to company directly anymore. Like now I have experience and I have top companies on my resume that if I throw in my resume there,
Yeah.
of course I'm going to get an interview.
Yeah.
That's starting now. But back then that I don't have any experience, I mean, this is what I did. And it's not only Amazon, you can do Google too. I believe you do Google. You should be able to see too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So this is it. Hiring manager, I'm hiring this one. I'm hiring engineers for Google, hiring program managers at Google. And then you just connect with them and talk to them. Connect with like 50 of them in a day, talk to them. One of them will reply, of course, and then you can go from there. That is a strategy I use to get Amazon on my resume. And since I got Amazon on my resume, I've able to go like Facebook, interview with Twitter, Facebook,
Nice.
Google,
Yeah.
Square, I could, GS, and a lot of complaints. I mean, you just need that one complaint
Yeah.
on your resume,
Yeah.
and you can go from there.
Definitely. Yeah. So this, I think, this is very important. Like, this was something even for myself. Like, I only discovered later on. Sort of like towards the end of my degree, and I was like, oh no, I missed it so much time. But the thing is,
There's this saying, I think is in southeastern Nigeria. When a person wakes up, that's their morning. So for many people watching this now, it may seem like, oh, I've missed out on my chance. No, no, no. There are still jobs on LinkedIn, on Twitter. You can see people still landing these tech jobs. Despite what's going on in the world right now, the opportunities are still there. They're still out there.
And one other strategy is this: whenever you're working on a project that is maybe a very nice project, try to push it up on the LinkedIn or Medium or Twitter. So someone posted about Zoom security breach on Twitter, and then the guy got a job immediately. Like Zoom manager just said, hey, I see that your idea about our security stuff is a good thing, and I would like to talk one-on-one with you. And then maybe 1 hour after, the guy posted again, oh, I got a job with Zoom.
Hey.
So yeah, that's another strategy. Just make sure your work is known to the world. And then once it's known to the world, that's it. You will get a lot of contact from them. But if you're hiding your work, nobody's going to know you. So that's why we have all these social media, just to publicize your work, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Only the mouth that is open will get fed. So
Exactly.
now I knew you recently mentioned something about a program manager. So I wanted to just get a bit deeper into your experience as an intern at Amazon. What was it actually like? We've talked about how you transitioned from physics to tech, and now working as a program manager inside of the big Amazon that everybody knows. And
yeah,
when I say Amazon, everybody, I mean Amazon. I mean Amazon. So what was it like actually like on the job?
Yeah, I mean, so actually, program manager or product manager role at Amazon doesn't require coding,
Okay.
but it requires you to know SQL and then data analysis a lot. Because whenever you want to make a decision at Amazon, whenever you want to disapprove or disengage in whatever thing, you need to use data as your backup. They don't want your instinct. They don't want your idea. I mean, that's why Amazon is growing. And I can say that Amazon will keep growing because their backbone is in data. They use data to make decisions a lot. So what is it like to work at Amazon as a PM is this. One, you need to be very vocal. That's one thing about PM. PM role requires you to be vocal because you will be meeting with different people. Okay. And then you need to tender what you need to them. That okay, this is what I need. And then more so, this one thing about it is that once you get in, what they do is they give you a project. This is your project. This is what you need to do. And then once you have the project, it's just like, how do I want to do this? One thing you should do is first clarify with your manager what the project entails or what is what the project has to do.
Yeah.
Anyways, what is your end goal? What is the roadmap? What do you want me to achieve? What are the deliveries you want me to have at the end of the day? You need to clarify that along the process because manager hates you coming back to them every time asking questions. They are busy people. If you look at their calendar, it's always blocked.
Yeah.
Because they are having meeting from back to back. So they hate you coming to them one-on-one. So you need to clarify in your one-on-one every time, just to clarify that you're on the right road. And then the thing is, so my project has to do like we have let's say transportation system. And then in transportation system we have disruptions.
Okay.
All of the time. And then we have softwares that monitor those disruptions and then report them so that we can solve them on time. But even this software is malfunctioning. And then my goal is to look at these softwares, propose a new solution that will be able to change the software. And then this project is for the whole North America and then Europe transportation system for Amazon. So it's a very huge project. And then, yeah, so, and also what is with PM role is this, you need permission from stakeholders. You don't just propose a solution. You know, the project you are working on is used by maybe 10 other groups, 10 other teams. And you have to meet with those teams one-on-one and then to talk to you about your solution. And then sometimes it will be heartbreaking because the solution you propose is going nowhere. So yeah, that's it. So you need to walk back. So the first thing as a PM is go to the data. I mean, talk to people first, of course. Talk to people. Yeah. What is going on in this group? What is this? Okay, get the idea of what you want to work on. Then go to data. Look at the data yourself. Yeah. Make sure you have data to prove your points. That's another thing. So whenever you're talking to your manager, that's okay, I think this is wrong. Why do you think this is wrong? That's what your manager will ask. Okay, this is the data I pull up from our database, and this says this says that. So add data to back up, and then make sure the solution you're trying to offer, before you offer a solution, you look at the drawback of the solution, okay, potentiality of the solution itself. You just don't want to go to your manager and then talk about some scrappy,
something that doesn't have weight behind it.
I mean, it doesn't add. I mean, it doesn't add weight just because you want to deliver. Doesn't. I mean, you don't have to finish your project too. That's another thing. You doesn't have to finish it. You just have to propose a new solution and put everything in good hand before you leave. So yeah, for my own project, I proposed a solution. My initial solution was that, okay, let's do this, let's do that, because I can't actually say my solution because I signed it NDA. So yeah, let's do it, let's do that. And then that was accepted for like 4 weeks actually, until I met with the final team that asked to approve my project. And they said no, because of this drawback and this drawback. So I've wasted 4 weeks out of 10 weeks. I mean, designing around solution. So I have to come up with again, meeting with another software development team in some other team in India and some other team in Europe, just to talk to them about, okay, what is going on? What am I missing? And then I have to come up with another solution. Actually, so what I missed in that aspect is I was so quick to deliver that I was missing some points. And then along the way, I was able to figure out those points. And then, yeah. And then also you have a mentor aside from your manager, you have a mentor.
Okay.
Instead of going directly to your manager, make use of your mentor. Your
Yeah.
mentor is just like an employee, normal employee, and it won't be too harsh on you. It's just like one-on-one. You can just chat with him, talk to him, beep him anytime you want. But your manager is a very busy person. You only go to your manager when you have a problem that your mentor or your wiki. So we have a wiki on Amazon website whereby you can just go on wiki and search for a solution there. So if you can't find a solution on wiki and your mentor cannot solve the problem for you, then the next person should be your manager. But don't just go to your manager without doing your research.
Yeah. No, I think that's a lot of insightful information, especially the fact that you've also spent some time after the internship, thinking of what went right, what went wrong, those self-reflection. It's something that really helps people grow. And now you mentioned also the different tools. So I was just wondering, what kind of tools did you use on this? Was it did you use JavaScript? Did you use you mentioned SQL or databases? So what tools did you use here? What do you think someone who wants to be in this kind of role should be learning and adding to their resume as a skill set?
Okay, for a PM role, actually, you don't really need Java, you don't need JavaScript, you don't need Python or whatever. SQL, you don't really need it, but it's kind of important because in your team, you're going to have a business analyst or data analyst for every PM team. And then, but most of the time, the data analyst or business analyst is quite busy with his own project, and then you have to do the analysis yourself. So that is why they encourage SQL for PM. And what you really need as a tool is just like work management, product. Maybe like you can just put on your resume like, okay, let's say you work with a friend that design a website. You can put it on your resume that okay, you were the one that designed the roadmap for the website. You need to know about system design. Okay, what are the architecture I need to use in this aspect? And then yeah, for the tools, every company has their own internal tool. At Amazon, I use like different 6 tools just to come up with a solution within my team. And that's within my team alone. So when I was talking to the scheduling team, they have this scheduling team. They use a forecasting system, machine learning, to forecast how much load they're going to have, how much maybe delivery they're going to have to do for next 2 weeks. So they know in advance, and then it's always precise. So they also use like 7-10 tools themselves. So tools is based on team itself. But what I know is when you get into a company, they teach you the tool themselves for like 3 weeks before you dive in.
So there's an orientation period, so they don't just throw you straight into the world.
Nah, they give you. I mean, my manager told me that I shouldn't do anything for 3 weeks. That I should just focus on my training, so that I won't miss anything and I won't have to come back to her. So yeah, but they have the training in place, and then my friend at Intuit, all of them told me the same thing. So they have all the training in place, and that's it. But for what you need on your resume is just like every project you work on, try to design it as in form of a product manager. Let me show you my resume.
Yeah.
So that you can see.
Yeah. So while you're bringing that up, I'll just add you just to recap. It's really important to figure out how to customize your work experience for the job you're applying for, and to also make sure that when you get on the job, figure out how you can learn about the organization before jumping straight into task. That's a mistake that people have made a lot, and usually comes back to bite them. And also look for mentors. So now we're going to see Eniola's resume.
Yeah. So this is my resume. I mean, this is my first internship, which was performed at FEMI National Sector Laboratory. Yeah. And if you look at it, when I was looking at the PM role, right? Look at what I said. I said manage and investigate a time of flight spread for decaying. So develop to detect neutrino oscillation. So I use Python, C++, and Rust. So I mentioned it in form of managing, designing the roadmap myself and everything. Actually, what I did most of the time here is writing code and all this stuff. But when I was writing the resume, I tried to make it sound like, okay, actually I did the roadmap myself too. Like I'm the research intern here, and I do whatever I want with my project. So, but yeah, the way I wrote it is this. So this is a strategy for writing a resume. Whenever you want to write a resume, just do it. They say, I did this using this to achieve this.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the time, like manage and investigate time of flight spread for decaying particle as part of mini dune project that is being developed to detect neutrino oscillation. So this is what I did. I managed and investigated time of flight to do what? To detect neutrino oscillation using what? Using Python, C++, and root.
Interesting. So the
So
template is I did X,
yeah,
linked to Y, achieved Z
Z,
outcome. Okay.
exactly. I mean, if you look at my my this thing, let's say, look at this last one, recommended process. This is what I did. I recommended process to do what? To save Amazon disruption management team. How much? Maybe 5.2 million and $34 million. So this is how much I saved my team when I work
Yeah.
at Amazon.
Wow.
And then yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's something. Wow.
Yeah, because it has to do with North America generally
Mm-hmm.
and then Europe. So yeah. So and then look at this. I said deeply analyze distraction management core volume across NA. So this is what I did and recommended to achieve what? To drive down the volume of core by 75%.
Interesting.
So you have to, I did X using Y to achieve Z because recruiters only have 6 seconds on average to look at your resume. And then what they want to see is quantification, like how do you quantify a lot? They don't want to see stories. Now I work as a now they don't want that. They're still gonna have a one-on-one call with you that you're gonna explain yourself what you did, but they just want to see quantification. Like, okay, perhaps it drive down volume of call by 75%. That's interesting. Okay, oh, it saved 5.2 million, 3.5 million. Wow, that's kind of interesting. Okay, it created intelligent and efficient algorithm monitoring platform. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, let me call him and then have one-on-one chat with him. Let's see what is going on here. And that's it. And then another advice is don't let your resume be more than 1 page. That's a normal thing, except you have more than 5 years of experience. You shouldn't have more than 1 page because that's it. I mean, yeah. And for instance, look at this place. What I did here is more than 2 bullet points, but I have to narrow it down to like 2 bullet points, the most important ones there. And then on my resume, these are the tools I use. I use IBM Quantum Cloud. I use Git. And then I use TensorFlow, I use NMP, I use Scikit-learn, I use AWS and GCP most of the time. And then my non-technical skills, of course, communication skills, intellectual curiosity, and all this stuff. And then technical skills is this Python, all this stuff. And then also I advise you to put relevant courseworks, the one you did that is kind of related to the job you are looking for, probably. And then yeah, so since I have experience already, I try to remove my personal project story. You know, I have some things for my personal project before. And this is what I just put the link alone in there.
Interesting.
So because I mean there's not enough space for me to be writing story on what I did. So I put the link there. Okay, if you're interested in my machine learning personal project, just go to this link, or if you're interested in my quantum computing project. But I put this one in there because this is kind of relevant, very relevant to what I'm doing and to the kind of job I'm looking for. And that's why I put it there. And it's still relevant till now. So I mean, so that's the strategy I used to write my resume, and most of my friends used to, and it has worked well for us.
Yeah, that's really good. And it's good you also share this with your friend because it's important to make sure that you also bring other people along. And just on that note, make sure to share this video too. Don't watch this video alone. Make sure your friends watch it too. That's very important. So now just thinking, what about the non-technical aspects? The soft skills, work culture. Overcoming challenges. How should people get into the industry, or what mindset do people need getting into the industry with the non-technical aspects?
Yeah, I mean, with the non-technical aspect, is just what I say is this: you just have to be kind of result driving. You can do anything just to get a result, just to get the job done. So if you're talking about non-technical aspects, of course, there are a lot of non-technical. My manager is non-technical, and then he's guiding a technical person. And so yeah, the soft thing you need to do is, if you don't know about, if you can't code, of course, you should learn about people management or product management. And the product management is not really that bad of a thing. It's just like, okay, I mean, just like look at, so it's an example. You can train yourself to be, okay, I want to build a website. You know, if you say I want to build a website, if you are drawing out the roadmap for your website, okay, I want this website to have login. I want it to have, you're already doing a product management role. So those are the soft skills I believe one can have. And then you should be vocal too. If you're not technical, you should be vocal, and then you should have a lot of curiosity, like, what about if I do it this way and do it that way? What about this way and do it? And then also, one thing all companies want in you, either technical or not, is that you have to make use of data. You don't have to write code to get data yourself. You just have to make sure that, okay, you are talking, and then your words can be proved using data.
Interesting.
So you just don't bluff out. Okay, I think if you can do this and do that. I mean, let me tell you one thing. Once you get into, when I get into Amazon and I see the tools and everything, I was just bluffing. Okay, what about doing this and this? This will solve this problem. You know, I mean, sometimes you just see a problem. I mean, you just jump in as a new hire who is kind of freshy and all this stuff, and I say, okay, what about doing this way and this way and this? You know, in kind of arrogant behavior, and at the end of the day, you just disappoint yourself. Like, well, there's no data to prove this, and then a lot of people have done this before, and they don't solve the problem. So yeah, it just, I mean, those are the soft skills, and then for non-technical, most of the time, you have to be team worker. You know, you have to have a strong team. One thing, Amazon, Goldman Sachs looking into you is that how much amount of teamwork can you do? Like, okay, are you a good team worker or not? That's one thing. And you don't have to solve technical problem to be a problem solver, of course. You can see a problem and solve it too. And those are the soft skills for someone who is non-technical that want to get into tech companies.
Yeah, that's really good. You know, I think even for me too, I'm learning a lot from this because you know, definitely being able to back your assumptions and your presentations with data, that's definitely go a long way, because people would want to know for sure, you know, are you just bluffing, or is there actually something,
exactly,
there's substance to it?
Exactly. Just know that someone knows better than you, and then that such person is just looking at you the way you bluff, and then you can just throw it off along the way. So just be careful.
Interesting. Yeah. So now, just thinking, you know, apart from the internships while you were in school as well, you know, were you engaged in anything like, you know, the IBM Qiskit Advocate? So you were a developer advocate on your campus. Is that correct?
Yeah, not really on my campus. I was developer advocate for Qiskit itself.
Okay.
So yeah, this is about it. So for you to be a Qiskit advocate, you have to contribute to Qiskit development. And so Qiskit have an open source called, let me see, GitHub.
Yep. And while he opens that, Qiskit is a popular open source quantum computing framework developed by IBM.
So just like Python,
yeah,
that's Qiskit, but Qiskit is also built on Python, so you can use Python and Qiskit together. So yeah, this is Qiskit. Is an open source SDK, and then whatever you want to do there is just, you can just open one of these, maybe Qiskit Terra, okay, and then try to contribute to it. So my first instance, when I didn't know what about Qiskit Terra or Qiskit anything, but I know about quantum a little, okay, so I go to Qiskit textbook, and then I try to correct some of the mistakes in Qiskit textbook, like, because they are just putting it together back then. So this is Qiskit textbook.
And by the way, this was also how, I don't know if I already mentioned, this is how I met Eniola. We're both, he was in the US, and I just, you know, I saw a name somewhere on a quantum computing competition with IBM. I was like, oh, that's another Nigerian. And then, you know, we started talking, and that's how we met.
Yeah, so so my first one is, I think I corrected some mistaken words here in this atom and computation. So when you correct the problem on GitHub, it's just push, and then they can see the problem and they correct it. So yeah, and then I wrote section. I was the one that wrote this section. I think 3 points. Wait, yeah, this one 3.11. So I was the one that wrote super dense
Wow.
coding.
I was reading this actually. I actually read this a while back, at least some part of it, because I was wondering, how can you use quantum computing to compress the amount of code and information or data that you have? So, oh, I can't believe.
Yeah, because a lot of people mistaking quantum teleportation and super dense coding together a lot of time. So they are very similar but kind of different. And then, so that is the motivation behind that. Okay, let me just differentiate between what teleportation means and the super. If you see that that was my first chapter 1, and yeah, so I work with Abraham. I don't know, you know Abraham, right? As for
Abraham, yeah.
So he tried to clean up my code so that it can be suitable for submission, and then, so I push this too, and then I contribute to a lot of different things too. So for you to be a Qiskit developer or Qiskit advocate, you have to contribute to their open source somehow. You have to have like 5 different contributions. So once you have 5 different contributions, you can take all your contribution and then submit it to the application form. So once you submit the application form, you'll be selected to have maybe a quiz. So the quiz is getting harder day by day. So I was one of the first branch of Qiskit Advocate. So it was kind of easier back then, but right now I know it's harder. So yeah. I mean, it's something from this textbook anyways. If you study this textbook, you will pass the quiz. And once you pass the quiz, you become Qiskit Advocate. So what Qiskit Advocate does most especially is we look at this textbook now. Okay, something is not here, right here. Okay, what about a project that I did? Okay, I can push it here and they will accept it. Also, if IBM is doing any quantum computing program around the world, we have official invitation. So, and then my flight and everything is taken care of.
Wow.
So those are the advantage of being a Qiskit advocate. And then, you can, so for instance, when I organize a quantum computing program in my school, like 2-3 IBM people came from New York to join the program.
Wow.
So those are the advantage of being a Qiskit advocate. But right now, I haven't been doing so much on it. But yeah, that was when I became a Qiskit advocate, and that's what I did. Just teaching people what quantum computing is, and then trying to invite them into quantum world. So right now, quantum computing is still behind. But we are proposing that very soon it's going to be solving a lot of larger problems that classical computers, when I say classical computers, our normal laptops will not be able to solve.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is, there's so many lessons from this as well, trying to get into a space early, because one thing you notice is that the more people or the more marketed something is, the more people are trying to get in, which means the competition is there. So often you have to look at the places where, it looks unattractive, but that, there's something there. That's usually what happens. You have to dig under to find the gold. And I think that's what you did here.
Yeah, like last year, we have like 5,000 people applying for Qiskit Advocate. And from the start, they only want 20 or 15 of them. So from the start, when I first joined, I don't think we are more than 50 applicants. So it keeps getting competitive.
Yeah, that's there right there. And nothing is above. People shouldn't look at anything that's above them. Like quantum computing, sounds really really difficult. But for myself, even me, trying to study quantum computing part, just on the side, I don't really have that foundational physics knowledge. But still, just looking at something from time to time, you can actually pick up a lot. And I think that's something important. Spreading out a task over a long period of time and just going back to it, just going back to it every once in a while. You definitely something.
And I think if you want to dive into quantum computing, all you need is, you don't really need physics, to be honest. All you need is a little aspect of physics, which is you need to understand entanglement and superposition. Those two phenomena you see are used in quantum computing a lot. And then every other thing is linear algebra.
Yeah.
You have to be very good at linear algebra, to be honest.
Yeah.
All these eigenfunction, eigensolver, all these stuff, vector, matrix, all these things. It's linear, pure linear algebra, and that's it. And if you look at the foundation of computer science itself, programming, dictating, algorithm itself is linear algebra, most especially.
And mathematics, yeah,
Mathematics a lot.
definitely.
So yeah.
So I think this has been really good. There's so many different things we've covered, and I was just wondering, where can people find your information? How can they reach out to you? How can they learn more about you? Keep up to date with the work you're doing. Do you have any contacts or anything that people can find?
Yeah, I mean, I use LinkedIn a lot. So if you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, my name is my name. So I use my name on LinkedIn. I use my name on Twitter too.
Okay.
And then, so those are the two social platforms that I use most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if I send me a message, I reply within maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's really exciting. I think Eniola, the work you've been doing is really inspiring, and it's something that a lot of Nigerians at home and abroad would definitely appreciate. A lot of Africans as well, and it was really great to have you on today's Codecast, and I'm sure there'll be much more to hear from you going forward, and maybe just as a final say, do you have any last piece of advice, or what you think people should start looking at, certain industries or anything?
Yeah, I mean, so what I think is this: not everybody have the ability to be a software engineer. So coding is hard if you don't have the basis from the very start, to be honest. And then, but what I think is this: instead of you going directly for software engineer, there are also a lot of different technical roles out there that can get it. Maybe you're looking for a 6-figure or something. So they are like cloud. Cloud is also a huge one, like getting AWS certification, GCP certification, and looking for a cloud engineer, all these stuff. This one doesn't require a lot of coding, and then you can get in easily and other stuff. There are also what's it called? Product management also is a good thing. I started with tech, with product management, and then have my way down to software engineer, all this stuff. And then another thing is, I think data analysis. So there are a lot of them out there. So you don't have to be I have to be a software engineer by must. I mean, you can actually get it started yourself. Also, I think the last piece here is because you work with React a lot, or React Native or something, maybe Flutter or whatever, doesn't mean you're going to pass a coding interview. Interview requires a special skills of problem solving on its own. And then using HackerRank or LeetCode would be helpful. So I can tell you that from LeetCode, 90% of coding interview questions come from LeetCode. LeetCode, yeah. So LeetCode.com, go to LeetCode.com, practice, start from easy questions, practice easy questions, go to medium. If you can solve easy and medium questions on LeetCode, of course, you can solve most of coding questions from Google itself. So yeah, and that's it. So the knowledge you have programming with React Native is quite different from the knowledge you need to pass a coding interview.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you very much, Eniola. I really enjoyed today's podcast, and I'm sure many of our viewers will as well. So if you're watching this video, please I would add all the descriptions and the links to Eniola's contacts and all the different technologies you mentioned. And of course, please remember to like this video, subscribe and press the bell icon. Where's my hand? Subscribe and press the bell icon. Comment in the comment section with any questions you may have. And for sure, please share this with all your friends. So, Eniola, thank you very much. And it was nice to see you. We'll see you all next time. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.